And with it comes a quiet tension that many people feel, but rarely say out loud. What happens to me when machines are smarter, faster, and more precise? That's where it gets real. Let's put the fear on the table. Will I lose my job? Will AI do what I've trained for all my life, but better? Will my skills be irrelevant in 5 years or 5 months? That fear isn't dramatic, it's human. And it's not just about money, it's about something deeper: identity, contribution, pride. So let me share something personal. I've heard those same thoughts in myself, even with all the work I've done in education, technology, critical thinking. There was moments where I felt a chill. I'll ask myself, if AI can do everything I teach and do it faster, then what value do I bring? But here's what I discovered: the fear is not a sign of weakness, it's a signal telling you that your story is evolving. Fear shows up when something you've relied on is shifting, but that shift doesn't mean you disappear. It means you adapt. There's a concept I return to often. Maybe you've heard it phrased differently. It's this idea: act as if you're self-employed, even if you have a boss. Now, that doesn't mean you need to start a business tomorrow. It means you see yourself as the owner of your skill set, your growth, your decisions. You don't outsource your learning. You don't wait for someone to skill you. You look around, ask hard questions, and build forward. You see yourself not as a piece in a machine, but as a system in motion. You take responsibility for your trajectory. In that spirit, I want to talk about mindset. Because before we talk tools, we need to talk who we are as we use them. I've always believed that mindset comes before mechanics. If we are not mentally aligned with our actions, we'll self-sabotage. We'll learn the AI tools, but we'll resist them silently. We'll watch tutorials, but deep down, feel like we're falling behind. That's why when I talk with people about adapting to the AI age, I don't start with the technology. I start with identity. I ask, how do you see yourself now? What's the story you believe about your own learning? Do you think reinvention is for someone else or also for you? Because until you reimagine your role, your actions won't land. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a world where the market doesn't just reward the deepest specialist, but also the person who can adapt, translate, connect. For a long time, we were taught, be a specialist, focus, get narrow. And yes, depth still matters, but in this new world, something else is also valuable: range, agility, perspective. When people hear generalist, they sometimes think unfocused or less valuable. But I see it differently. A generalist isn't someone who knows nothing deeply. A generalist is someone who can navigate across knowledge and make meaning where others can't. In today's world, the most valuable people will be the ones who can zoom in and zoom out, who can go deep into a field and step back and ask, how does this connect with psychology, with education, with ethics? So how do we build that? Here are a few things I've learned and lived in my own journey. Pick one AI platform and go deep. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, it doesn't matter which one you start with. Just start and get curious. Don't just ask it to summarize articles. Ask it to role play a debate with you. Ask it to explain something to you like you're 12. Challenge its answers, test its boundaries. You not only learn the tool, you learn how you think. Your non-AI space is precious. This one's personal for me. I intentionally carve out time where I'm not using any tools, not even my phone. Sometimes it's journaling, sometimes it's just sitting with a question, sometimes walking without distraction. These moments don't produce content, they don't optimize anything, but they keep me human. They help me hear the quieter voice inside, the one that doesn't shout about algorithms. And that voice often brings me clarity I never get from screens. Mix your specializations with deliberate curiosity. I know, life is busy. You're already trying to keep up. But curiosity doesn't always mean taking a full course. Sometimes it just means reading outside your field, listening to someone 10 years younger, asking a question you don't know how to answer, and letting it sit. This is how generalist muscles grow, not by abandoning depth, but by adding width. And in my work, I've seen how this matters again and again. The people who thrive are not always the smartest. They're the ones who stay open. Now I want to turn back to something that matters deeply. Children, students, the next generation. When I stepped outside of formal classrooms, it wasn't because I didn't value education. It was because I believed in something more than memorization and marks. I wanted to create a space where students weren't just getting answers, they were learning how to ask better questions. Where they weren't just writing essays, they were learning how to notice bias, to empathize, to take perspective. And what I've seen is this: emotional competence and critical thinking are inseparable. You can't really think well if you don't feel safe. You can't question ideas if you're afraid of being wrong. You can't build logic without also building empathy. So, the classroom I try to build, whether online or in person, is just not academic. It's relational, it's reflective, it's honest. And AI doesn't change that. If anything, it makes it more important. That's why I believe parents and educators, we all have a role to play. We can't just say, use AI. We have to model how we use it. We have to let kids see us exploring new tools. We have to be honest when we don't know the answer. Because when they see that we are still learning, they understand that learning never ends. They see that being a grown-up doesn't mean knowing everything. It means knowing how to grow. And now, let me leave you with this. We're entering an era of profound acceleration. AI is only the beginning. Tomorrow, it will be something else: quantum, neural, synthetic. We can't predict every tool, but we can prepare the mind that meets it. And the strongest mind isn't the one who knows the most. It's the one who knows how to pause, to ask, reflect, to discern, to care.